Welcome to episode 11, where I'm thermaling everything, or what I call thermaling everything. I decided to title it that because we spend so much time thermaling today. We hit the club limit, so the club puts a limit on how much time I can have in that glider since there are other people who want to use it. And the maximum time is 1 hour that you can have that. So our instructor and I made our radio calls. We've done our pre-flight checks and done our pre-takeoff checklists. So we're being pushed out onto the runway to take off. And when we get up there, as we're going up, we'll do some slackline recovery, which could still use a little bit of improvement on, just understanding the whole process. I was a little bit confused about who starts the process. So one flight instructor had me generate the slack line myself by nosing up on the tow plane, meaning that I get a little bit higher than the tow plane, and then I nose over really quickly to go faster than the tow plane, and that generates the slack line, and then how to recover from it. And what I found is that the different flight instructors have different methods for basically removing and getting the slack line out. And so we talk a little bit about that. Then once we get off tow, we do a lot of steep turn practices, and then we go thermaling. And we thermal for 45 minutes, but I've condensed it down because it's just so much circling and circling and circling. And I'll end up getting a little bit fatigued, which then affects my performance on the landing. But because it's such a beautiful day also, there's a lot of wind. You can see the windsock there behind this ADO, the assistant duty officer, there right above my left hand. The windsock is indicating that we've got our right crosswind. And there was a lot of wind, so that was a factor coming back on landing. It's a factor taking off. You'll see it blowing me around. I get a nice gust. It actually kind of blows me up into the air, which I wasn't ready for, and I'll go, woo! I'll say that when something unexpected happens to the aircraft and I wasn't ready for it, and I don't know what it is. But all in all, it ends up being a thermaling day, training day on thermaling, which I still have a lot of improvement to do on thermaling because I do not keep the nose pitched well for a consistent airspeed, and that also probably means I'm not trimming it very well either. So still got a lot of things to learn, and here we go.
Wings level. Flat straight, wings level. Ooh, we got up really fast. Fly straight, fly straight, fly straight. Alright, we're about, we can turn back now if the rope broke. Bravo Yankee, this is glider 1 Kilo Sierra. We are going to do a slackline recovery.
25, Hot Springs. Copy, 5 Bravo Yankee.
Alrighty, so I'm going to come up. Oops, hold on. Let me get him set up. So we'll come up here, nose over. Okay, there's my slack line. I'll come out to the side.
Say again, folks. Thank you.
Woo. Okay. How was that?
No, that's not how you should do it. Because basically, the way you practice my plane.
Yeah, you're playing.
Okay. I got a lot of slack line.
Is it my controls or your controls?
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Come back to you.
Alrighty. Ooh, I'm in this wake. Woo. Okay. Alright. Bravo Yankee maneuver complete.
So that's where I learned that the flight instructor is actually the one who's supposed to generate the slack line.
Okay, so
And then we're supposed to have a positive transfer of controls, and then I'm supposed to recover from it. And here, actually, I unintentionally generated a little bit of slackline recovery without even meaning to. And then this is my emergency wave off, where Uwe and I are not really paying attention to the altitude, and I needed to release and get off. So the tow plane waved us off, and luckily I had enough situational awareness to see that and disconnect. And so then we're going to start practicing steep turns, and then we'll do thermaling.
Trim it back. Alright, there he is. I see him. Alright. So we're shooting for 45.
Spring traffic in here through Romeo Pike is 13 miles northeast, straight in 25 Hot Springs.
Let's see. Now you wanted me to do some steep banks at minimum sink?
Yeah.
Okay, so 45 roughly. And then I'm gonna do a turn to the left.
Right.
So clear left.
Okay.
Traffic flexion 359, turning left base for runway 5. Foro traffic 24, Bravo Yankee will be entering a left crosswind runway 28, full stop, front row.
Okay. Trying to keep the nose on a normal
Traffic Skyhawk 585.
for the horizon to maintain airspeed, 45.
Now that's
And-
not 45 degree yet. Thanks.
Is that 45?
That's 45.
That's 45. Okay.
Front traffic 3 minutes, so skydiving is caution, do not overfly front row, 10 altitude and below, 3 minutes skydiving.
And then I need to bring the nose up to try and...
Probably what I struggle with the most in this is keeping my nose at a consistent attitude on the horizon. There's just a lot going on, and if you watch the nose of the aircraft as I'm going around, it keeps on dropping. So like right there, it dropped. So then I have to bring the nose back up. I'm also not 100% coordinated, but I'm doing okay. But there's a lot of improvement needed there.
What do you want now?
45 degrees to the right.
To the right, 45 degrees to the right. Okay, clear right. And my airspeed's going to come up. So let me get that.
If you look there in the center, at the center top, that's my airspeed indicator. I'm trying to keep that indicator in between the yellow triangle, which is 50 knots, and the 40 knot indicator. So I'm roughly trying to maintain about a 45 knot airspeed as I'm in a 45 degree bank. So I've got to add in, since this is a right turn, I've got to add in right rudder to try and keep coordinated, while at the same time I bring the aircraft over to the right with the stick, and at the same time pull back to keep the nose up. And it's actually the pulling back action that helps the turn happen. So probably what I'm not doing a good job of is using the trim to relieve back pressure so that my airspeed stays consistent, because you'll just watch my nose constantly oscillate up and down. It was also a pretty windy day, so I didn't really know what to do with the different winds, because as you go into the wind, you're going to get pushed in one direction. As you come out of the wind, you're going to be pushed away, and that's going to affect your airspeed. But you can see the yaw string there on the center, which is supposed to help indicate coordinated flight. It's not always doing the best of going over the center of the canopy. But so there's a lot of improvement there as well.
Okay, so we have a little bit a little bit lift here, so try to work it.
Oh, we do have a little bit of lift?
We had a little bit.
I don't see it now. So I head over towards that cloud. There'll probably be some lift. I'm gonna.
So that thing that I am turning up right there is what we call a vario, and it basically kind of measures whether or not you're in sinking air or whether you're in rising air. And what that helps me figure out is whether or not I'm going through a thermal that's going up or if I'm in air that's going down towards the ground. Obviously, in a glider, I want to get through air that's going down very quickly. So that instrument also calculates my best glide speed for the type of air that I'm in. So it'll spit out a knot number based on how much sink I'm in or how much lift I'm in. If I'm in sink, so like right there, it got the whole way down to like 8 knots there for a second. And what that basically does is that means you need to speed up to get your best L over D or glide ratio to get out of that sinking air. And then once you get into rising air, so there's a little needle, that little white needle goes up and down from 0. So 0 is, it's the whole way over to the left there. So there, right about there, it's about 0. If it goes up, that means I'm in rising air, and that's measured in knots. And 1 knot equates to roughly, not exactly, but roughly 100 feet per minute of rising air. So if that thing goes the whole way up to like 4, 6, or 8, and even 10, you know, you multiply that by 100 feet per minute, and that's kind of what you're rising to. Whereas if it goes down, that means you're in sinking air, and you're sinking hundreds of feet per minute. So you want to get out of that air as fast as you can and into air that's rising. So that's what we're doing, heading over to this cloud. We're going to start thermaling now. That's part of why he had me practicing all those banking turns and whatnot, was to get ready to do this, which is, we end up thermaling for like 45 minutes straight.
Oh, okay. Good, thank you.
Not too slow though.
Not too slow. Yeah.
Try to maintain like 42 or something.
Okay.
So again, I'm really not good at maintaining a consistent airspeed, but you can see my vario, what we call happy beeps. Those happy beeps mean that I'm in rising air. And then in the center of that is going to give me a number that tells me what my best glide speed is for the air that I'm in. So what I actually want to do is keep my airspeed down close to like the minimum sink, which in this case would be 42 since we're dual, but I'm shooting for about 45, between 45 and 42 knots, and I do not do a good job of maintaining airspeed. You can see my airspeed keeps on going up and down, up and down, up and down. My nose goes up and down, up and down. There I'm up to 55 knots. Now I'm bringing it back down to 50. I level it out, etc., etc., and this is like the whole battle of thermaling, is centering the thermal And then for me, at least where I am right now, is just maintaining a pitch attitude so I can maintain a consistent airspeed. So what I'm doing here is I've sped about 34 minutes of thermaling up to about 2 minutes worth of footage, and I'm going to talk about this for a second. The thing about soaring, you really got to be able to do steep banks and spinning around and around and around for long periods of time. I know for me, like, I started to get nauseous probably halfway through this, because you're just spinning in a circle, staring at the ground at a 45-degree angle, steeper, sometimes shallower, for a very, very long time. So you can kind of tell just by speeding up. Like, just imagine circling and circling and circling and circling and circling for hours at a time. Then that's how you stay up. Now, some gliders that are more efficient, you don't have to have such a steep bank angle to stay up. But for today, we were being very steep because the thermals were not wide, but they were more focused, so we had to keep a very, very tight turn. But it can definitely wear on you. It wore on me that day. But 34 minutes of turning around in a circle condensed down to 2 minutes. It was pretty crazy. But I'll end it here in a minute, and then we'll go and land.
Probably a good time to come back.
Okay.
We're currently on the 9:45.
Okay. Well, so I'm not quite ready to make my 45.
Okay, do another 360. Right 360.
Right 360? Okay. Alright. Front row traffic, this is glider 1 Kilo Sierra on 45 for runway 28. Oh shoot, I forgot to include the right.
Yeah. You can go for the 10.
That's my bad. Alright, food stall. Flaps we don't have. Undercarriage we don't have. Speed, setting it for 55. And we got some altitude to burn off. Speed, trim, lookout, and landing.
Okay, so right now I am kind of task saturated. I got a lot going on. The first thing is that my altitude is very, very high for what I want to be. So I just used the air brakes to kind of burn that off, but that messed with my airspeed, so I'm trying to maintain 55. I've also got a crosswind coming in from the left, and I don't know that, so that's blowing me in towards the runway. So right about here, I want to be about 1,600 feet. And then when I get down here towards the end of the runway, I want to be at 1,500 feet. And if you look at my altimeter, I'm like 300 feet above that, 350 feet roughly. So I've got a lot of altitude to burn off. And on top of that, trying to figure out all the different forces that are acting on the aircraft and how to counteract those. So I'm not aware of them. So you'll hear me a couple of times. I go, woo, as we're coming in to land. And that's just because, like, I'm glad I'm okay, because we are really, really high and there are different forces acting on the aircraft that I don't really understand, but I'm glad that we made it back to the runway. So just now I crossed 1,500, so I've got the air brakes out. That messes with my airspeed, so I'm about 5 knots faster than I want to be. But in that turn, I burn all that off. I get it down to 50s, then it's nose over again to bring the airspeed back up. Now the airspeed's too high again. And now I'm trying to do slips to get myself down to the runway. So there was a lot going on, and I'm not good at rounding out, and I'm not good at paying attention to my airspeed because I'm so focused on staying on this center line. So right here, I've been told by my instructors that I like to fly it into the runway, and what I need to do is hold it off and bleed off my airspeed. Bleed it off, and he helped me do that, and thank God he did, otherwise I would have just ran it into the runway. So trying to get back to the center line now, and you'll watch the wind coming in from my right now blows the nose, or blows the tail back, and then causes the nose to go over here to the right. So what I should have done is I should have had a little bit of aileron into the wind and opposite rudder to try and counteract all of that. But that was the landing. We made it down safely thanks to my flight instructor, and that was a good learning experience.
I think I have a lot of improvement to work on.
Also, as a student, it is very hard to transition from a lot of spinning in circles thermaling to then putting my head into the mode of getting down and landing. So that was another thing that was factoring into it all. I was pretty fatigued, feeling a little bit nauseous from all of the circling we had been doing, and then trying to navigate getting down, making all the right radio calls. I was very disoriented and kind of confused, so didn't do the best for sure. Well, it was a good day of soaring. My landing was a little bit rough, but it was beautiful. You could see for miles. Visibility was pretty much unlimited, which made it a beautiful day to be up there. But I did get a little nauseous going around and around in circles for such a long period of time, so that takes a lot of endurance. And my landing was a little bit rough, so I have a lot of improvement to do still. But if you made it this far, thanks for watching, and keep on soaring.